So today we're talking about the overlooked reasons preventing you from getting a toned and defined body. So if you're here tonight, I'm willing to bet that you have been either currently doing this or you've done this in the past. You've been blindly following random workouts from your favorite fitness influencers, whether that's on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and you're doing this hoping for the same results. You've been sticking to the colorful dumbbells that don't go past 15 pounds, and you've been spending more time doing cardio and doing group classes than actual weightlifting. So if you've been doing any of these things, or if you've done any of that in the past, let me know in the chat. And doing these things, it prevents you from getting the body you want. So if you're on this chat, if you're on this call tonight, the body you want likely looks good in the mirror. It looks good naked. And it's the body that people are going to give you endless compliments on when you walk into the living room on Thanksgiving, when you pull up to your family's house on Christmas. It's the body that everybody is noticing a difference in. And we've been taught that we need to spend hours in the gym on the Stairmaster doing high reps with lighter weights, that we need to focus on cardio, that we need to work out every day. The workouts have to be at least an hour. It has to happen in the gym. And we have to restrict certain food groups. And none of this is true. And I don't want you to just take my word for it because I'm on here spitting information at you. My clients literally prove all these things wrong. So my clients have been able to lose fat without spending a lot of time in the gym, without doing a lot of cardio, and without having to give up their favorite foods. They've been consistent with exercise despite being on the go, despite having a lot going on in their lives, and not always having access to typical equipment that you would see in gyms. And they've been able to drop more than 4 pant sizes and get consistent compliments on their body. So you could do this too. And just imagine if you could lose weight, lose fat specifically, without having to spend hella time in the gym, without doing cardio, and still being able to eat your favorite foods. And this is what my client Angie was able to do. So before Angie and I started working together, she was probably like some of you guys here, trying low carb diets for the 5th time, trying to lose weight quickly. She was doing a lot of cardio boot camp classes, and this left her feeling deprived. She was starting to get frustrated, and she was feeling like this weight loss stuff was impossible. And she got some results with this, but it didn't last long, because as soon as she ended the cardio boot camp that she was on, the weight that she lost started to creep back on, and she was back at square one. And this happened really, really quickly. Then within 8 weeks of her and I working together, she was able to lose 15 pounds. And she did this through consistent strength training, just 4 times a week. She didn't do any intense boot camp, cardio classes, and she was still able to eat what she wanted in moderation. So you can see in her messages to me on the right that she was able to do this and still eat everything she wanted. She was having more energy throughout the day, and she was really confident that she was doing the right things. And I share this with you guys to let you know that it's possible. So not only have my clients gotten significant transformations that they're proud of and they're happy to show, but I have had multiple myself, as you can see in this picture on the right. And yes, transformations like this take time. It takes doing the right exercises for you. It takes building habits that allow you to be consistent. But more importantly, it takes creating the right mindset. And you're never going to be able to get to this point without it. So tonight, I can't give you everything you need to know, but I want to at least give you the information that it takes to build this mindset, to cultivate this mindset. And it's the same mindset that I teach my clients, so that when you start working out, when you start your workout plan, you know exactly what to expect and you know how to stick to it for the long run. Because social media shows you quick results, and it doesn't really show you what it takes to maintain a certain physique or maintain a certain lifestyle for a long period of time. And I'm not really into 3-month or 6-month transformations. I'm more so into what you can do for a year plus. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to start with discussing the mindset and the beliefs that are often overlooked. And these things, when they're overlooked, it causes you to never actually be able to achieve the body that you desire. So our mindset is really shaped by what we've been conditioned to believe over the years and what we see consistently on the internet and social media. And some of these things include putting a lot of focus and emphasis on on cardio instead of strength training. You've been seeing a lot of people promoting higher reps and lighter weights, saying that it's the best way to get your muscles to show, it's the best way to get toned. People really fixating on the number on the scale as if it's the most important health metric to look at. Seeing people do hours on the Stairmaster, seeing people focusing on getting at least an hour in the gym. And if you can't do that, then they feel like it's not worth it. And attending group classes to burn a lot of calories and try to get toned. And it's not your fault if you believe these things, because this is just what we see over and over again. But these beliefs do cost you your time. You've put all this effort in, you put all the hard work in, you're doing these things consistently, and you don't have much to show for it, and you don't have the body that you think you're going to get by doing these things. So by the end of this presentation, you're going to have a clear roadmap to go from getting inconsistent results or no results to being on your way to having a toned body without having to do these things and without having to spend hours in the gym. I'm going to give you my secret sauce to getting a body that actually looks like you work out, looks like you lift, and actually sustain it during the upcoming holiday season, because you know that around the holidays, that's when people tend to fall off and start to put exercise and the health on the back burner because they feel like they can't commit to these things around this time. So you're going to get the blueprint to successfully getting the body you want, and you're going to be confident that you can sustain it no matter how busy life gets, or no matter how much your work starts to stress you out. So we're going to cover what the number on the scale actually means, because that's a big thing that women specifically get caught up on. We're going to cover the difference between losing weight versus losing fat. We're going to cover exactly what to expect along your journey, because certain things are going to pop up, and if you don't know to expect it, you might get discouraged. You're going to talk about why group classes aren't for you, and ultimately the mindset shifts you need to make in order to do this for the long run. So let's get into this. So at the time of this picture on the left, I was a senior in college. I had just finished playing college ball. And I was trying to enjoy the last 6 months of college, and I was eating more than I ever had, partying more than I ever had. I was drinking a lot, and I was eating fast food at least 5 times a week. And this is when, I don't know if you guys remember, when the Wendy's 4 for $4 first came out and it was really popular. I would get the 4 for $4, add the extra nuggets, and then get the large strawberry lemonade. And this was at late night. And I would go to sleep and do this again. I loved 4 for $4, but probably wasn't the best decision, but that's what I used to eat a lot back in college. And I went from being a size 7 to 8 probably to a size 14. So I was 138 and I was up to like 170. And I didn't feel like myself. So I started to do what most people do when they want to lose weight quickly. I was doing strict diets. I was trying to cut out carbs, and carbs are my favorite foods. And I was trying to do a lot of hours of cardio, and I hate cardio. I was miserable. I didn't like anything about this. So at the same time, ironically, I had just got accepted into physical therapy school, which was something that I always wanted to do, but I wasn't that excited about it because not only did I put on a lot of weight, but another thing that bothered me was I didn't like the idea of being a healthcare professional and not being fit and not looking the part, not practicing what I preach. So this is when I kind of knew that things needed to change. So when I got into physical therapy school, I was like, I'm going to take everything that I'm learning and apply it to my own journey when it comes to fitness, when it comes to exercise, and just taking care of my body. So 1 year later, I was able to get down to 130 pounds. And I feel like I look so skinny in this picture, but I think it's important to show because after that 1 year when I lost the weight, all I cared about was the number on the scale. I was just trying to get back to the weight I was as a college athlete, and I was still strength training, but as soon as I saw the number on the scale start to go back up, I would freak out. And I would freak out because looking back on it, I didn't really truly understand the difference between fat loss versus weight loss. So then I started to try to put on more muscle, try to put on more weight. And looking back on it now, if I had paid more attention to just losing fat versus trying to get the number on the scale to go down, I would have had a different physique that first time around. I would have been a lot happier with the way I looked. But at the same time, I realized I was so fixated on the number on the scale. And a lot of women come to me now and talk about the number on the scale. And I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. I actually want you to understand what the number on the scale truly means so it doesn't cause you to get in your head and freak out and try to make changes too soon. So what actually is the number on the scale? The number on the scale obviously is your weight. And we know that when you go to the doctor, they always weigh us, but do we actually know what this number entails? And the number on the scale, the number you see is the weight of everything in your body. So not just fat, you're talking your water weight, muscles, bones, and your weight and the number you see on the scale is dependent on so many different things. So for example, it's depending on the time of day that you weigh yourself. It's dependent on your recent foods you ate. It's dependent on your hydration and the time of the month. If you are going through menstruation, you're going to see different numbers on the scale as opposed to measuring at a different time. But the main thing I want to get across here is that the number on the scale does not show isolated fat versus isolated muscle. So the number on the scale should be the last thing on your mind, especially if you're trying to see more definition, more tone when you look in the mirror. So let's actually talk about what looking tone means, because I feel like people use this word but don't necessarily know exactly what it is. So all looking tone mean, or all being toned means, is lowering your body fat and increasing how much muscle you have. And in order to increase your muscle mass, you have to lift weights. And with this, when you lift weights, you're gonna obviously gain muscle, but at the same time, you're gonna see the number on the scale go up. I'll answer questions at the end, but feel free to drop them in the chat. So when you lift weights, you're gonna gain muscle, and with that, you're gonna see the number on the scale go up. But we wanna get toned, so you wanna decrease your fat and you want to increase your muscle. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're just relying on the number on the scale, you're not going to realize this, and you can get in your head and start to change things before you actually need to. So like I said, seeing the number on the scale go up is going to make you panic. It's going to make you feel discouraged. You might start to question if you're doing the right things, and it's going to make you scared to continue to lift weights. So this is why I want you to know exactly what the number on the scale is and why it happens, so that you don't think you're doing something wrong and you don't give up on lifting weights. So we know the number on the scale is going to go up now, but we need to know why this is going to happen. So when you start to exercise, especially lifting weights, your body is going to go through a lot of changes, specifically in the first couple months. So lifting weights specifically is going to put stress on your muscles, which is going to trigger your body to respond in 3 different ways. The first one pertains to healing. So when you lift weights and when you exercise, you're literally causing mini muscle tears, which in turn go through an inflammatory process. And this is what helps your muscles recover, grow, and come back stronger. But with this inflammation process, you do add a little bit of weight to your body. So that's why you will see the scale increase. Another reason that the scale increases is you start to have more carbohydrate stores. And this sounds like a bad thing because carbs are so demonized, but carbs are really good because they're our main energy source. And when you exercise consistently, your body will start to store more carbs in your muscles so that you can have energy for your workout. So if you ever did a low carb workout, a low carb diet, when you work out or even when you're going through your day, you are going to feel less energetic because you don't have that main fuel source. And with these carbs in your muscles, they're going to have to bind to water to actually be used as fuel. So this is going to add some water weight. And when you step on the scale, you're going to see the number increased. And just bouncing off that water topic, let's talk about water retention. So water is going to play a big role in the number on the scale. So say that you eat very salty food, high sodium food, and then you weigh yourself the next day, you're likely going to weigh more because salt causes your body to hold on to more water. It's going to cause water retention, and that's going to show and be reflected in the scale by having a higher number. So all of these things can cause the scale to go up, but when you're on your journey to building the body that you want, you don't want to measure your progress by the scale. You want to start to use other things. So now that we went through that, when you're going through your exercise program and you're on week 1 or week 2 and you're starting to build muscle and you step on that scale, you should not be afraid. You shouldn't get scared. You shouldn't give up because your building muscle is nothing to worry about. Now you actually know why you're seeing that increase. So you shouldn't be too concerned with that number on the scale. Then what measurement should you use? If you guys use any of the measurements in the scale, drop them in the comments. I'm curious to know what you guys use. So a measurement that I really like to use is circumference measurement. So this is actually a graph of exactly perfect. This is actually a graph of my client's waist circumference measurements. So we take them once a month and we don't pay attention too much to the scale, but I do have her body weight in there. So we'll take these measurements as well as her body weight, and we'll see how it changes month by month. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. So if you take circumference measurements specifically of your waist, you'll know if you're losing fat. And remember, the scale doesn't show isolated fat loss. So if you have these circumference measurements, as they're going down, you'll realize that the scale may not change, but your waist circumference will change. And that's how you know you're losing fat. When you start to measure other parts of the body, you may see it going up. So for example, you may see if you measure your biceps, you may see the numbers going up, but this is really just dependent on how much fat you have around that specific area. But your waist measurement usually should go down if you're losing fat. So that's a big one to include. Other ones that I use is progress photos. I really like to take progress pictures every 2 weeks. If you're somebody who is also like me, I do take videos and pictures every time I work out. So just having those is a good way to see your progress, especially when the number on the scale isn't budging or isn't moving in the direction that you want it to. How your clothes are able to fit. If you have clothes or a certain pair of clothing that you used to be able to fit that you can't anymore, I recommend keeping it so that you can eventually fit into it. Like last Christmas, my parents brought me a BMW sweatsuit, and I love BMWs, and I could only fit the top. I couldn't fit the bottom, so I kept them, and now I can actually fit into the bottom. And the number on the scale hasn't really changed for me, but I'm still able to fit in clothes that I wasn't able to before. In-body scans at the gym are another way to measure your progress. And a lot of people talk down on in-body scans, but they're a great way to measure your progress, especially if you're using the same exact scan. So if you're at the same gym all the time and you use that same in-body scan, then it's going to be accurate based on itself. So using that same one is going to be important. Don't go to different gyms because then your results are going to be skewed. But if you always use the same one, then they're pretty accurate. Another way to measure your progress without the scale is performance in your workouts. Are you able to increase your sets? Are you able to lift more weights? Are you able to do more in your workouts? Are you able to take less rest breaks? These are good ways to measure your progress. That's not going to show up in the scale, obviously. And another thing is your consistency. Say that you're used to working out once a week. Are you able to work out twice a week, 3 times a week? These things are all indicators of progression. And then lastly, your energy levels. When you are working out, you're going to notice that you actually get energy from your workouts. And my mom tells me this all the time. She's like, I worked out today and I feel so more energized. I feel good. And she really notices the difference when she doesn't work out. So I think that's a I think that's a good way to measure your progress. So now that we've got the scale out the way, how to actually measure your progress, let's talk about you and let's talk about your false beliefs in your head, because honestly, they're really your worst enemy. So if you don't shift the way you think about these things, you're never going to be able to get the results and sustain your results. So we really have to shift the way we think about group classes and certain things that are offered at our gyms. We have to shift the way we think about the all or nothing mindset and microwave mindset, which is what I will talk about in a couple minutes. So let's get into this. So group classes. I had somebody the other day on one of my posts on Facebook, like I forgot exactly what the comment was, but they basically like inferred that I hate group classes. I don't actually hate group classes. I've actually taught group classes. This is a picture of me and a group class that I ran sometime last year. And it was a cool experience. I think group classes are good, but you have to know the purpose. You have to know the purpose of group classes when you're going to them. So has anybody here attended group classes? Let me know in the chat. Okay. They're definitely fun. Okay, so yes, group classes are very fun and they've actually become very popular lately because they are easy. They're easy to get your body moving. It doesn't take much thought. It gets you sweating. The music is pretty dope. It gets you hype. And as always, doing things with a group of people makes it a lot more fun. And they're really intended to get you to burn a lot of calories and make you feel the burn. But if your goal is to build a body that looks good in the mirror, a body that has more definition, these group classes are not going to work for you. And this is why. One of the reasons why is because they lack structure. Every time you go to a group class, you're going to do different exercises each time, right? And variety is good. It keeps things fresh. It keeps you from getting bored. But when you want to get toned and you want to get defined, you're going to need a structured routine that gradually changes and forces your body to grow and tone your body over time. And group classes do not give you this. They also lack progressive overload. So when you go to the classes, you're doing different exercises, but you're always sticking in the same weight range. So you're using the same weights over and over. And this makes it impossible to track your progress week by week. So think back to one of the measurements that we talked about using to see if you're progressing is your performance in your workouts. When you do group classes, you're not able to assess this performance. You're not able to see like, hey, I was using 50 pounds on a squat last week and now I'm using 60 pounds. There's no tracking week by week, which is a downfall if you're really trying to build muscle, get tone, get more definition. So if you want to get tone, you're going to need this plan that gets harder each week, because without it, your muscles aren't going to grow and you're eventually going to stay stagnant. And cardio group classes are very cardio dominant, and cardio is great. It has a lot of benefits and is good for burning calories, but it does very little to support building muscle. And most group classes have this cardio dominant nature. I know that there's some classes that do focus on more strength training dominant things, but for the most part, group classes focus on high intensity cardio, and that's not really going to help you build muscle, and you really can't get a toned look without having any muscle to show. So this is why these group classes aren't going to be good for you. And this is also why you may know someone who lost weight by taking group classes, but they still don't have that muscle definition. They still don't look toned, and they're likely have the same like body structure, but the number on the scale has went down, but they haven't really changed how they look. And that's not really what we want. So if you want to get toned and you want to have more definition, you're going to have to not only lose fat, but you're going to have to gain muscle as well. And that's not always reflected on the number on the scale. So this is what people get confused about when they do group classes. They're like, hey, I'm feeling better. The number on this scale has gone down, but I'm not really seeing any changes in my body. And that's not what we want. So the body that we want is going to require you to lose fat and build muscle. And this is the same body that everybody talks about, that looks good in the mirror, that's more defined. But you're not going to get that way if you're just losing numbers on the scale. You have to actually build muscle and lose fat specifically. And you don't only have to do that, you also have to get rid of your current mindset. So you're going to have to change the way you think about certain things. And I mentioned this before, when I was trying to lose weight or trying to get to my old college weight, I was really focused on the number on the scale. And all these things that I'm about to talk about, this is exactly what I was thinking back then. So if you guys can switch your perspective now, you're going to get to your goal a lot quicker than I was able to. So the all or nothing mindset is something that everybody experiences, whether it's in fitness or just life in general, but it's really just an extreme form of thinking and not being flexible in your approach to something. So when you think you have to be perfect or else you have failed, if you can't be perfect, then you shouldn't bother at all. So this shows up in a couple different ways. And if you guys have experienced any of these, drop them in the chat. And if you have other examples, drop them in the chat as well. So if you usually work out for an hour and then you have a busy day and you know that you don't have an hour to work out, you only have 30 minutes. Instead of going to the gym for those 30 minutes, you skip the entire workout. That's an all or nothing mindset. Another example is if you feel like all of your progress is ruined if you miss a workout, if you have a cheat meal or a drink, or if you do certain things. That's an all or nothing mindset. If you feel like you have to wait until after the holidays to commit to an exercise routine, that's an all or nothing mindset. And that's happening to a lot of people now. They'll have the thought of starting an exercise routine, but they're like, hey, Halloween's coming up. I'm not going to be able to enjoy certain Halloween parties, or Thanksgiving is coming up. I can't be on a diet during Thanksgiving. So there's no point in me exercising because I'm not going to lose any weight. Or same thing with Christmas. This is just a mindset that we have that prevents us from getting started and also prevents us from being consistent. So if you want to actually get results and keep your results for the long run, you're going to have to get rid of this mindset. And you have to know that your progress isn't ruined if you miss a workout. Your progress isn't going to be ruined if you have to shorten your workout instead of doing something for an hour. And you can still enjoy different festivities. You can still go out to eat and you can still have a couple of drinks and still make progress. So I think I suffered from this a lot initially because I wanted to be perfect and I really wanted to lose weight quickly. So I thought anytime I was doing something that was deemed unhealthy, I would ruin my progress. So there's times where I would go out on Friday to like for drinks, happy hour, and then the next couple days for the weekend, I just wouldn't work out because I felt like I already ruined my progress for that week on Friday. So I might as well wait until Monday to start over. And that happened so many times until I like got rid of that mindset. And now I can go out to eat and I can do certain things without being in my head and without feeling like I'm gonna ruin everything I worked so hard for just by one outing. So you can actually enjoy your life and do these things, but you really have to just have the right mindset to control yourself and also not get so much in your head and feel like the world is ending when you do these things, because I feel like there's really no point in having a nice body and being fit if you can't go out and enjoy the other aspects of life. There's really no point of doing it, to me. The next one is a microwave mindset. And this is basically wanting things quickly and wanting immediate results. I think that in 2023, and with like how the world is, we just want everything quickly. You see on Instagram, people are looking successful and having nice bodies, but they're not really showing the journey, the extensive journey that got them there. You can even, like Amazon Prime, I feel like plays a role in this. I can go online and order an iPhone charger and it'll be on my doorstep tomorrow. Like everything happens so quickly. And I think we are just trained and conditioned to think that this is how things are supposed to be. So having this mindset is going to prevent you from getting to your goal. So how does this show up? It's basically wanting short-term gains and worrying about that more than your overall health in the long term. And this is when you see people doing extreme and restrictive routines that guarantee you quick results, but people don't really realize that this isn't sustainable. And this mindset also leads to unrealistic expectations. So wanting to lose 15 pounds in 1 month. If you lose 15 pounds in 1 month, you're likely very, very obese, and that's possible. Or you just did something that is very restrictive and you're not going to be able to sustain that for a long run. So having that expectation is going to set you up for failure in the long run, even though you may feel like you can do that for that period of time. It's just not something that you should do or you should think that is possible. So anytime somebody hits me, I was like, hey, I have to lose 15 pounds before this trip. I think that setting the expectation and letting them know that, hey, this isn't possible and the reason why is important. And usually they respect that and they change their perspective and end up going with a approach that is a bit more sustainable. And it may not get them to their goal in the time frame that they want, but they'll be able to sustain it for the long run. And then this also shows up as people being consistently inconsistent. So the people that start different workout programs and end up switching them very quickly because they aren't seeing results quick enough. And this ends up making them not get any results at all, because you have to give your program time to work. You have to give things time to manifest. So always switching things if you're not seeing results in time is detrimental to your progress. So we all want things quickly, but the body you really want, the body that you're really going to be happy with, is not going to happen quickly. And the things that do give you quick results usually don't last, and it's usually not worth it in the end. So getting rid of this mindset is definitely key to sustaining anything you want. So until you get rid of these beliefs and you master your mindset, you're never going to have a physique that you're truly proud of. I've never saw somebody that lost weight quickly or got something really quick that they're really, really proud of. They're always looking for the next thing to fix something that they were missing along the way. For example, I was talking to this woman today, and she did Weight Watchers and she lost like 30, 40 pounds or something like that. It was something crazy in a crazy amount of time. She was like, I just feel like I plateaued now. I don't know what else to do. And I feel like a lot of people who lose weight very quickly, they end up backtracking and spending a lot of time trying to figure out their next steps when they could have just figured that out to start and master the basics and would have been fine with that. But now she's struggling to figure out what her next steps are, when all she should have did is just start with something more sustainable in the beginning, and she wouldn't be in the position she is now. So I was trying to explain that to her. She realized now, but she was basically very frustrated because she felt like she lost all this weight, but she's still not looking the way she wants to. So changing this mindset is going to put you light years ahead of other people who don't have this down. So what we just covered is really crucial in getting the body you want, but this is really just the beginning. It's just one piece to the puzzle, because without knowing what to expect and without having the right mindset, you're never going to be able to get the body you want, and you're never going to be able to sustain it. And the other piece to the puzzle is having an exercise program that's right for you, because without this mindset that I talked about, without overcoming the way I was thinking, combined with the exercise program, I would not have been able to achieve any of these physiques that you see on the right. I would still be in my head about the number on the scale. I would be inconsistent with the holidays, especially now with my birthday coming up around Thanksgiving and with Christmas coming up and all these different plans that I have. I would not be able to look the way I have and the way I do look now. I would have no type of social life because I would try to be perfect, and I would tell myself that I can't enjoy certain things. And if I did, I would ruin all my progress. And ultimately, I would just look like the picture on the left without having the mindset I do now, without knowing what to expect, without knowing how to navigate the different changes that we experience, and more importantly, without having the right workout program. So, like I said, what we just covered is just one part of the puzzle. And it's really the first thing that I tackle with my one-on-one clients, but it's only a small part of what I help my clients with. So having the right mindset and knowing these things is important, but the other part of what I do with my clients comes down to really the application and the execution of an exercise program. And the way I help my clients with this is through my one-on-one coaching program. So I'm going to tell you guys about this and give you a deep look into it and answer all your questions at the end. So the Lifting for Women one-on-one coaching program is a program that's very comprehensive and tailored to the individual. And it always starts with a video call where we really get a deep dive into your circumstances, your lifestyle. I get all your business and know everything about you. So on this call, we do a time audit, and I want to know exactly what your day is consisting of, so that we can really figure out where you can fit exercise into your weekly routine. Because one of the biggest things that women have trouble with is thinking when they're going to fit their exercise in, and thinking that they have to do these long drawn out workouts that consist of a lot of cardio. So we do this time audit to see exactly where we can fit in small pockets of exercise, and that makes a huge difference. Another thing that we do on this call is a movement assessment. So everybody moves differently. If you're on social media, you see people posting correct form for things, correct form for different exercises. And honestly, nobody moves the same. So it's really important to see how your body moves with basic exercises. And that ultimately helps determine where you are at physically, and this pinpoints areas that you may need help on. So by getting all this information from there, that's when we can create your customized plan, and that takes into account your goals, your schedule, your lifestyle, and how you move, so that you're not doing anything that one doesn't fit your current schedule and also doesn't fit your current physical state. So after that, going forward, we have monthly support calls, and this includes beyond the scale measurement. So we really track everything outside the number of the scale. Yes, we do measure your weight, but it's not our main focus. So we track all data that you can think of: how much you're lifting on your exercise, on your lifts, your circumference measurements. You're tracking all of your vitals, literally everything that you can think of, we are tracking. And then we also go over your workout program. And I think this is a key thing that makes this program stand out, because there's so many people that work with trainers or coaches and don't know exactly what they're doing for their workout and why they're doing it. So we go over this workout plan, go over all the ins and outs, and as we work together, we'll make necessary adjustments to make sure that it's always aligned with your goals and your schedule. So for example, and I'll talk about this in a couple of slides too, one of my clients just ran a 15K and she's training for a marathon. So when she first started working with me, she was lifting 4 times a day and she wasn't running as much. But now that she has this different goal of running this half marathon, I don't have her strictly strength training for 4 days anymore. We do a lot more endurance training, and we have decreased her lifting days to 2 times per week. So this was one of the things that we discussed on the monthly support call, because she was telling me that her goals have changed and she wanted to run this marathon. So we curated the program that she was able to do while still keeping her on track to hitting her running goal. And also, she's a soccer mom, so she's very busy. So just making that fit into her schedule and allowing her to stay consistent and on track despite her goals changing was really game changing for her. Q&A and topic discussion. So on these calls, a lot of my clients bring questions about certain topics that they want more clarification on. I have a patient that's really interested in upper body workouts, so we go through different exercises and exercise progressions because that is just what she's interested in. So these calls are really tailored to be very specific to you and what's coming up at that moment. So that's really a good opportunity for learning that my clients really appreciate. And then you also get access to the Lifting for Women training app, which is essentially your portal for everything. This is where you receive your workout program, and each workout program comes with video demonstrations, so you know exactly what to do and how to do it correctly. And on this portal, you can send videos of all your lifts to make sure you're doing them properly and safely without causing any pain or any injuries. And then we also have the ability to track habits. So a lot of your results, or most of your results, are going to come from outside of your training session. So yes, you're in the gym for that 30 minutes to an hour, however long you can fit into your day, but your results are really going to come from the things that you do outside of the gym. So we set daily habits that I want you, or have my clients, to check off in the app, and that is what helps support your overall health and support your overall well-being, and helps you stay on track with your gym goals. So habit tracking is also built into this app, which is really cool. I have a client set some weird not weird, but things that you wouldn't normally think of. Like I have a client that really likes to make her bed in the morning because it sets her tone for the day. I have a client that wants to read a certain amount of pages in a book per day. So just things that really start to play into your overall well-being, not just in the gym, is things that we track. And then also you're able to track real-time data. So this app that we use syncs with the most popular fitness trackers. So Apple Watch, Google Fit, Fitbit, Garmin's. These are all ways that you can track your statistic and track your metrics, and this is automatically uploaded to the app. It syncs so nicely, and it creates graphs for you and different ways that you can assess your progress. So I think it's really cool, especially if you're into seeing your progression week by week and month by month with all these different things. You can really pay attention to it. And then most importantly, you have on-the-go coaching. So life can be unpredictable and questions come up all the time. And this is what sets my program apart from working with a coach in the gym, because the coach is only with you for that hour, that session, and you may get a question throughout your day and you may want to ask the coach, and you may have to wait for that next session, and that session may be next week. So you'll always have direct access to me. You can ask any questions at any time. And a lot of times this comes up when clients are in their actual workouts. They may have a simple question and they can ask right away, get their question answered. Or even if they need real-time modifications or updates, it's literally like having a coach in your pocket, because I can literally answer in a second and you have everything you need. So it's essentially like having a coach in your pocket 24/7. And I just want to highlight and tell you guys about my client, Jacqueline. So before starting this one-on-one program that I just told you about, Jacqueline was doing a lot of fad diets. She was doing cardio workout routines, and she would never see the muscle definition that she wanted. She was experimenting with different workouts from Instagram, by women she followed that had a really nice physique, and she wanted the same look. So she would follow their workouts in hopes that if she did that, she would look the same. And she really struggled with consistency because the workouts that these influencers were posting were really long and they were cardio based. So she wasn't really a fan of them, but she felt like that was what she needed to do. And they didn't really fit into her busy schedule as a soccer mom. So as these months went on, she grew more and more discouraged and she felt like she was doing all of this for nothing. And since working together for about 5 months now, she has been able to break past her goal weight of 200 pounds and also keep it off. She's been able to go down 4 pant sizes, and she was really concerned about getting rid of her muffin top. So she was able to do that. She went from a size extra large to a medium, and she was able to train for 2 different 15K runs. And this is her progress here on the right. Those pants are a lot too big for her, which is pretty cool to see. And I just updated this slide today because she just ran her 15K today, and she was able to be 13 minutes better than the first time. And that's within a few weeks of, no, that's actually within 3 months apart from each other. So that was pretty cool to see. Just the effect that being consistent with, exactly. That is amazing. Just the effect that strength training has on running, even though she's only doing 2 days a week. So being able to help her stay consistent is really cool. And I really attribute that to my program's flexibility and ability to be able to modify things on the go and as things come up in her life. So as you can see in this black screenshot, she says, with the help of my strength trainer, she helps me fit in my days according to my crazy schedule, keeping me strong, helping me find a way to stay consistent. Thank you and appreciate you. So that's really what this is all about. So this could be you too. So if you're ready to break free from restrictive diets, being held by the shackles on the scale, doing random workouts, and feeling like you don't have time, then you really need to be inside this one-on-one coaching program. So if you're somebody who's ready to create goals that are attainable without making you feel restricted or tied down and still being able to enjoy all the foods you love, and if you want a plan that aligns perfectly with what you want to achieve, so you don't have to settle for random activities in the gym or random workouts on the internet, and you want guaranteed exercises that are perfect for you and safe for your joints, you don't have to worry about getting hurt, and you basically want a coach in your pocket at all times, not just during your session, then you need to be in this one-on-one coaching program. And if you're interested in this, after this, message me immediately after. Find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook at Kiani Adams, or you can find me on Instagram at Lifting for Women, and direct message me immediately after we get off. And if you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, or you're not interested at this moment, then be sure to join the Lifting for Women Made Simple community. That's the title in Facebook, and there's tons of resources to help you get started in there. But I'm just going to be honest, the people who are working with the coach and who are working with me get results a lot faster than trying to piece these things together on their own. So at this point, you can use those resources dedicated to you, or you can get personalized and customized support to your goals. So like I said, if you're interested in that, direct message me immediately after we get off. And there were some questions in the chat. I'm going to scroll back up. If you guys have questions, let me know.